Okay. See, we have our roll call.
Mr. Paul Culver,
Here.
Mr. John Bailey,
Here.
Ms. Jessica Bludgeon.
Okay, next up is the introduction of our city staff.
Kim Flaherty, Project Manager, Permits and Licensing.
Good morning, guys. All righty, we need an approval of the minutes from January 16, 2024 meeting, which was our last one.
I move to approve the meeting minutes from meeting January 16, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? New case. Case A, BP 2022-0004, 929 North Beach Street, appeal of notice of condemnation and demolition order.
No, I do the swearing. She do the swearing. No. She do the swearing. Where are you? You do the swearing? Mandy, you or, yeah. No? Mary, I do the swearing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's what you want. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so. Yes.
Never ask an attorney to swear to tell. I did my start.
Board secretary is a notary, but I know this board was different.
Okay, John Cecil, Rehabilitation Building Inspector. This is 929 North Beach Street. I'm going to go through some slides here and show you some photos of the property in its current conditions. This is a picture of the posting on the building, which was 3/14 of 22. This is just another photo of the posting on the building. This is from a photo of the front of the building, which faces Beach. Is it not? I'm sorry, not Beach Street. That would be I can't remember.
It's Sickler Lane, John.
Is that? I can't. This is the status of the building before they actually started doing the cleanup around the building. This is the way that it actually looked. It has that extension on the back of the building there on the right-hand side of the photo.
Can I stop you just one brief moment?
Yes.
John, I know we hadn't had a meeting in a while. So do we have much history on, I mean, when you say they, who are we talking about? What do we have in terms of what we're looking at?
We're looking at the building at 929 North Beach.
Okay.
I'm using they as for the property.
Okay, have you had any contact with the owner of the?
I have not, but Kimberly has.
Okay, and so your
Yes.
presentation, what you're presenting now was the observations made by you?
Myself, yes.
Okay, as
Yeah.
to the condition of the building?
Yes.
Okay.
So right here is, you're looking north at the building, so everything on the building, on the left-hand side of the building is in a dilapidated state at that time when these photos were taken. There's another photo of it. Okay, now this is June of '24 of these photos. And you can see that nothing has changed at the building site at this time so far. Everything is the same. There's a couple little things that they cleaned up around that was on the bottom of the building there. It was like a bench or a storage unit that was there that they had removed. The fence area was removed at this time in '24, but this one part of the section of the building was still there at this time. There's just another angle of it. That's looking south on the building. This is just showing some dilapidation on that back structure of that building, the addition to the block building. Then March of 2025, this is current. They removed that addition that was on the west side of the building. It was like a little storage area. So the building all the way around it's just the block building now. This shows you on all sides of it. There's the pad to where that one addition was built on there that was dilapidated. And then the fence area was towards the front of the picture here in the grassy area, which has been removed. This is another angle. It's looking south on the building. That's just showing the meter and the damage that was on the wall there from something that was going through the wall into that other area that they had removed. So they removed those pipes that were coming out there. Just showing the overhang. The water intrusion that's coming there. This was photos while at the property. There appears to be a little bit of storage that was going on in the building there. They had some pictures and some other things on the right-hand side of this picture here. That just shows the bathroom. That's showing the mechanical or the electrical box there, that it looked pretty new. I'm sorry. Just wanted to make sure that was all the pictures. Yes. In that photo there, the Jeep place, which is across the street, they were parking their vehicles on the back side of this property also. Now I will get to the one photo that's how it is currently right now. So we can have Kim come up and...
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Is it currently in use or occupied to your knowledge?
No, it is not.
Does
I mean, like I said, I believe that there was some pictures and some other things that were being stored in there. Not a whole lot, but there has been some activity of somebody going in and out of
Okay.
that property.
Active utilities at all?
No, there was no active utilities that I could see.
Okay, and what about it is, if anything, is it unsafe or dangerous?
At this time, the danger of the property was removed, which was the west part of the building, which was the addition and the fencing area, because it was having homeless there, and it was dilapidated and it was falling in at that time.
Okay.
Okay, they did remove that. Now, as it sits right now, it's just a block structure. It is not, I'm going to say, accessible for homeless to get into it because it was locked up. It was secured. The building was secured at that time.
Okay. I don't have anything else. You were bringing up Kim? Okay.
Good morning, Kim Flaherty, Project Manager, Permits and Licensing.
Kim, if you could
John,
pull that down a little. There you go.
is that better?
I think so.
Okay. John showed all the pictures, just a little bit of history on this property. This property has been condemned since 2022.
Okay.
This current owner took possession in 2023. We have been trying to work with the owner since 2023, and nothing has been done. June, when we were forcing the issue of demolition, in June of 2024, he finally had someone submit a permit application. They still have not completed the permit application. We've been waiting on the same staff comment to be addressed. The major issue, there is roof dilapidation with the property. There's going to be several things, but the big concern is this property is in a flood zone. It's in an E flood zone. The base flood elevation for this area is 4. The finished floor of this property is 4. That's been the comment outstanding with the building permit application since last year, which they have repeatedly ignored or failed to respond to. That has to be addressed before the building can be usable, period. Staff's position is we have tried, again, since 23 to work with the owner. We've got nothing but lead-ons and nothing produced, and we just ask that the board uphold our demolition order.
Yeah, I do have one question,
Okay.
and I think maybe from what you just described, is it safe for occupancy as it is right now?
We cannot allow occupancy at this time.
Okay.
It is a flood hazard.
Okay, and, okay. I don't know where we go from here.
Well, I don't know, Glenn, do you have anything to add?
Glenn Urquhart, Chief Building Official, City of Daytona Beach. So we've been working on this as far as trying to move forward with this property for 3 years now. They did recently take the shack portion of it off, but we're still dealing with where we have a dilapidated structure in between the two streets of Beach Street and Ballou Road. And Ballou Road being a redevelopment district, we have apparent standards that have to be upheld. So at this point, there is a dilapidated roof. It is still a dilapidated structure, so we're asking for the order to be upheld. That's kind of where we stand with it. It's a very small building. It's not a whole bunch to look at. You have fascia and soffit as well that is in the dilapidated state. So the pictures kind of speak for itself.
And from a physical perspective, this is kind of where the roads kind of do a low angle.
Yes, sir.
Goes in.
Yeah, it's where all the water pools actually too. Anytime there's a rain event, that's where all the water pools right in there. So it's a real bad flooding area.
Okay, and when we were just told about the flood elevation, what was, explain that a little bit better for us.
So where your floodplain is, you have to be the prescribed amount of feet above that floodplain. So they're right at street level. So they'd have to actually raise that 2 feet. So in order to get their finished elevation on that building, they'd have to raise the building 2 feet or demolish the building and rebuild the building. But you still, they deal with the same thing as far as there's a Coquina building over there, there's that Jeep building over there. They all deal with the same thing. When you have a bad rain event, all the mud and all the residue from the flooding goes inside all these buildings. So it is a reoccurring event pretty much every year.
And you would agree as well as the chief building official that this is a building that's unsafe for occupancy as is and has been for some period of time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Yeah. I know, I live in that neighborhood, and I flood every time. So I'm well aware of how much comes right off the river. Paul, do you have any questions?
How many questions now?
Yes, any questions? No, I guess that's it. We have 2 speakers. The first is Mr. James Jones. I believe they'll both need to be sworn in.
Okay. Let me get up, sir. Sure. State your name.
James Jones.
Okay, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Very good.
Greetings. I know you've been dealing with this for quite some time, and I know you see a lot of these applications, and most of them have pie in the sky hopes of salvaging and don't have the wherewithal or the financial resources. But in this particular case, these individuals are committed to save this structure, and they employed my my services just about a month ago. I'm a general contractor, state certified from New Smyrna Beach, and I also sit on the Building Trades Examining Board for Volusia County. So I see the same situation once a month that you guys are faced with right now. But the owners are requesting that we get a stay for at least 90 days on this condemnation so that we can, so that I have an opportunity to contact the proper people. We have been in touch with engineers about the flooding situation, and they're saying that FEMA would accept a couple of floodgates in the building, understanding that it would flood. I have information on that and where the location of those floodgates would be. The owners have enlisted the help of another contractor who Kim mentioned had filed for a permit application but has failed to complete that application, and that has a new design for the roof. So the point is that they're trying to save the building. They want to do everything they can. They're just asking for a little bit more time, but I know you've been dealing with this for over 3 years, so they've been involved the last 2 years, and sometimes they hit a dead end, and people aren't willing, as far as professional people, aren't willing to undertake a small project like this. But I think we can see it through, and I think it could be made into an attractive little structure at that point. The goal is to have it, they own another business close by, and they might do their bookkeeping out of this small structure.
Questions? No. No questions? No questions? No. Thank you, James.
Mm-hmm.
Our second speaker is the owner, Alama Nasher.
State your name. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. Sorry to bring everyone here for such a little building. Nothing too crazy, but basically a few things that I've ran into. I'm not going to blame anyone or anything, but even the other contractor that I messaged to be here today that applied for the permit, is nowhere to be found. I do have 2 different elevation certificates for this building. which proposed a different problem to me. Like one as similar to like what the city had mentioned, and then one from another surveyor here who's, I guess, registered in the county, not some random person, with a different number on that same elevation for that same building, which threw things off with, you know, engineering or what kind of flood plan. And then the engineer that I did hire and had paid money to told me he needs another 90 days to get an architect to do something else. So I'm very unfamiliar with the the different, you know, things that need to occur in order for things to function. But I do know when I was like allowed permission to like, okay, clean this, I'll clean it. If you told me today to go paint it, I'll go paint it. If you told me to go fix anything that's unsafe, I will, with your approval, I will do it immediately. So with not less than 90 days, it'll be done in 10 days. I just don't, I can't do that without, you know, doing things the right way or the legal way. As far as unsafe, anything that looks unsafe is removed. There's just normal cracking, which is the same on like, you know, people's house, whether it's the roof, which we intend to fix. Anything that is unsafe or not good, I intend to make it look good and better and safe, similar to all the buildings that are around it. It's just a little challenging when there's a lot of, you know, different people involved and different things involved, and just the process of doing so. But at any given time, when we were allowed to do so, even like when that permit was applied for, if it was, I guess, approved, but I guess due to certain like flood things or FEMA things, it does extend that process and just makes it a little bit challenging. And I do have multiple, you know, contracts and deposits, which I've paid people and nothing has occurred from it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not trying to blame anyone, but it just, when there's so many things involved, it gets very challenging to kind of, you know, manage everything, as well as managing multiple businesses here in this city, you know, in this whole county. But I would definitely like to make this a beautiful building similar to the ones that are around it. And I just see a very good opportunity for it. And I'm sure everyone here knows that lives in Florida, it's going to flood. There's going to be mosquitoes. There's going to be, it's part of Florida. It's something that happens, and we just have to work around it. And yeah, I intend on making it good and correct within the city code and limits and up to FEMA's code as well. So.
Okay,
Yeah, I have a question. Mr. Nasser, did I hear correctly you've owned this for the last 2 years?
I have to check I have to check the date, but I think it was August of 23, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I think the testimony was that it was 2 years. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
That sounds, okay.
and does anyone else have questions?
You were aware of the issues with this property when you purchased it?
No,
You were not aware that it was condemned to be demolished?
not at all. There was nothing on that building that said condemned. There was no signs,
How
there
does
was no
that
papers.
happen?
No, aside, it was for sale. I mean, it had a for sale sign on it.
Yeah, it was listed for sale. There was no condemnation signs. There was nothing.
Okay, and then you were notified on the first time, on what date? June of 2024? Or was it 2023? Yeah.
I think
okay.
it was
the
like-
first owner was notified in 22,
Correct.
and then about 8 months later, or something like that?
Yeah, it was like
You were notified?
Yeah, it was like a kind of a weird, shocking, you know, thing. So even if you look at my FPL account, I have, you know, a few properties. I went and tried to like add this, and it just wouldn't like go through. It just said pending. So I was just kind of like confused, you know, and had to call and check. And they're like, oh, maybe there's an issue with the meter. So I had no clue, like there's, you know, or turn the water on or anything of that nature. So.
I guess my only other question would be like, why the delays with not responding to the permits that were applied for? There's a long delay. In
There is,
not
and
doing
a good portion of that is obviously my fault, you know, between like someone's like just very strict with email, someone's very strict with calls, someone's very strict with texting, other people show up face to face. So between like, I immediately applied and hired a contractor once I got that, you know, condemnation, whatever, how you say it, and he did apply for a permit, and I did pay him, you know what I mean? That's why he went in there and applied for it. But then I guess there was a portion that has to do something with like elevation and flooding. So then he's like, okay, we have to get an engineer for this. And I've got two different engineers. And I have here two different, from Volusia County, surveyors that work for you. with 2 different elevations. So one is machines calibrated wrong, or one was on like, I don't know, the moon, or I'm not sure what it is, but so it was different measurements from people that are licensed throws things off for me. And so like one guy is arguing with this, and that I have a contract that this was supposed to be done in November. I paid Joe Vigliotti to get this, the flood plan. I paid him for a flood plan, and it just never went through. And then after he's like, oh, there's 2 different elevations. We have to get a 3rd surveyor to come out to do another elevation. And with that, we're going to have to wait 90 days to get an architect. This email exists. And after that, we can decide what we're going to do from there. But at that time, Kim's been very helpful, and the rest of the team, with, just going through the motions and like trying to give me time. And I'm very grateful for that. But I've honestly, been kind of put down or let down by a few people who are licensed in this county. If I didn't need a license, it'll be done this week. Just say go, watch what happens. I have no problem. And it'll be good, and it'll be up to code. I'm not going to just randomly put something. I build automobiles for a living. I'm a jeweler as well. I'm very handy with my hands, but I know some things require certain specifications. I have no problem meeting those specifications. It's the process of getting the paper, and everyone to be happy with, a certain amount of funds for them to agree to let me do so.
And you have the 3rd certificate, certificate of elevation now?
No, I have 2. I don't need a 3rd. I think that's just,
Didn't you just state you needed a 3rd?
that's what that engineer said, and I continued not to
Okay,
go with
wouldn't
him.
you what the engineer says?
Because
Or engineer?
I feel I'm actually going to pursue him in court after all this is done. I'm using someone else, but that engineer promised me and failed to deliver within 30 days. He said he would have a flood plan for me. I gave him a large deposit to get that done. And what he's saying is wrong. He's just trying to up more money from me and put me in a very bad situation. So at one point or another, I will cut my losses with Epson, and I move forward in a different way, in a different plan. And what he's saying is not necessary as well. So from doing other research and contacting other people and contacting FEMA, what he's asking is just not required. So, but I'll still be up to FEMA code, and I'll be up to the city code, and I think that's what's required.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess there's no other questions. I would like to ask Glenn Urquhart a question.
Glenn Urquhart, building official, City Daytona Beach.
All right, Glenn, in your opinion, as a longtime, inspector, contractor, would you say the cost to cure, we know it's going to be more than 50% of the assessed value, and with the cost of raising the structure, you can't, I don't believe you can do floodgates because it's going to be habited. Do you feel that it would probably be less expensive to tear down and rebuild?
I would 100% agree with that statement. Yeah, renovations, and anytime you come in to do that, people always think it's going to be less expensive. Renovations is actually more expensive. Than you come in and build new, you actually come out a little bit cheaper. Especially in this situation. It's such a small building, it's concrete block. You could demolish it, go ahead and raise the slab, and then go ahead and do the block, and then, because it's going to require a new roof anyways. So why put a new roof on a structure that has to be raised? So the best starting point would be from base minimum, and then raise it up, and then build your structure after that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Glenn.
have a question related to that. As it relates to, are there any kind of nonconformities that are associated with this balance of costs that we just talked about that will have to be addressed?
I mean, basically at the cost right now, it's past where it's substantially damaged, and it's substantial improvement as the FEMA guidance. So it's going to go past the 50%.
Right, and that would require what then?
Then you have to build everything to modern day code, as well as meet all the FEMA restrictions and guidelines for that area.
Okay, so what you've heard related to the concerns or questions concerning engineering reports and those types of things, you would have to rely on those as part of any permits being issued?
Yes, sir. Yes. Anytime a structural engineer is brought into play, their decisions are what present to. That's what we go by as being licensed engineer in the state of Florida.
As to all the information you have right now, this property is not habitable, and it's going to take a major, both cost and operation to bring it into the state of being habitable.
Yes, as compared to what the market value is on that property, the money that needs to be put into it, it's
But
definitely,
it's the recommendation of staff as to this long history of notice of condemnation.
my recommendation is still demolition of the structure.
Okay, and there was a question as to whether it was posted or so forth at the time of purchase. Any knowledge as to that, one way or another?
Could you repeat that question?
It's a question that's, or at least raised by the current owner as to whether it was posted, condemned at the time he purchased.
It was posted, and then traditionally, after you post something, a lot of times it's tore the next day, if not the same day. But anytime there's a transaction that goes through with real estate, Ms. Flaherty is always on top of that as far as getting that information to all necessary parties that are involved.
So a matter of due diligence would have notified or made that.
Yeah, the notification, the
well,
information is definitely there.
I actually assume when you signed your purchase agreement, you had a due diligence period. Yeah, so that's probably when you should have checked flood maps and things like that, honestly. You know, it's commercial, so the disclosures are different than residential. You
Yes,
don't
sir.
have as much on the commercial end. I'm a residential real estate broker, so I know I would have had to have told you. But on commercial, yeah, you probably want to talk to the previous owner or the broker that handled the deal.
Yeah, we consistently have in our department, anytime anybody has any questions when they're about to do a real estate transaction, they all go to Ms. Flaherty, and she does a research for them and gives them that information.
Yeah, it doesn't really take a whole lot of time. Okay, I guess, any more questions for Mr. Urquhart? No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. All right, do we have any more discussion from Jessica or Paul?
No?
No? So I guess it's time to call the vote. You're going to make a motion to uphold the demolition order?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to uphold the demolition order.
Okay, and do we have a second? The discussion? Okay. All right, so now we have a motion and a second, we're in discussion. Do you want anything to discuss, or?
It's just, there's been so much time it was like this problem was ignored. The photos that John Cecil showed us, it looked like the condemnation stickers were still on the building in 2023. The same stickers that were put there in 2022 were still there on the so I don't understand how it was purchased without knowledge of this, and I do agree that rebuilding is going to probably cost a lot less than we're trying to accommodate the flood issue as is. So that's all I guess I have to say, but I think that's their best route.
All right, so the motion as presented is to uphold the demolition. And I guess it's time to call the vote. You want to do a roll call? Or just voice vote?
I suggest roll call.
Roll call, okay. No, it'll be on record.
No, go ahead and do a roll call.
I'm sorry, what?
Roll call? A roll call?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Culver?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye,
Miss Jessica Wood?
Aye.
thank you.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
I believe that's all those, as far as hearings, I believe that's all we have on the docket.
Right, and yeah, if we don't have any cases to review. I don't believe, Kim, do we have any new business? No new business? In that case, we're adjourned at 9:33.